My beloved child, something extraordinary has begun moving toward you, and even if you can't see it yet, its footsteps are already echoing behind your fate. The person you're connected with is no longer able to sit still, no longer able to pretend that they're unaffected, and no longer able to hide behind their own silence. They're eager, almost desperate, to converse with you, because you've imparted into their life a profound shift they never expected, a shift so intense that it has overturned their thoughts, disrupted their routines, and awakened a longing they can't suppress anymore. They keep replaying every detail, every moment, every word you ever shared, and now the silence feels heavier than a confession. Something inside them is pushing, almost pulling, demanding that they step forward before the window of destiny closes forever. And what they're preparing to reveal, it will crack open the truth you have sensed for months but never fully understood. But listen carefully, because this next reveal will shake the viewers who are watching as if they themselves are standing in the center of this unfolding storm. This person, yes, the one whose energy has been tied to yours, thought they could resist the pull. They thought distance would weaken the bond, they thought silence would kill the connection, and they believed ignoring their emotions would somehow dissolve the intensity between you both. Instead, the opposite happened. Every attempt to walk away made the bond stronger, every attempt to forget made the memory sharper, and every wall they built shattered under the weight of their own realization. They've been experiencing a profound emotional shift, one that has left them restless, sleepless, and unable to escape the thought of you. And now they're preparing to say the words they once swore they would never say, words that will change everything you thought you knew about your connection. Their mind is racing, their heart is trembling, and their next move is not just a message, it's a revelation. You don't know this, but someone close to them noticed the change. Someone saw their eyes soften when your name came up, saw their hands shake when they thought you were online, and saw their entire mood collapse the moment they feared they had lost you for good. This person has been caught zoning out in the middle of conversations, staring at their phone like it holds a doorway to destiny, and whispering your name under their breath when they think no one is listening. They check your last scene even when they promise themselves they won't. They open your old chats, your photos, your messages, rereading everything because it brings them a sense of calm they can't explain. And here's the twist you never saw coming: someone confronted them about it. Someone asked, "Why do you look like you're waiting for somebody?" And instead of denying it, they stayed silent. Silence spoke what their heart was too overwhelmed to say. But the real shock is this. This person is preparing to confess something they've hidden for months, something that will make everyone watching inhale sharply. They've been carrying guilt. Not guilt for hurting you, though that pain eats them alive every night. But guilt because they realized too late that you're the only one who ever saw them deeply, gently, honestly, and they took that for granted. They thought you would always be there. They thought they had time. They thought destiny would bend around their comfort. But destiny has now flipped everything, and they find themselves standing at the edge of a truth they cannot escape. Losing you would be the biggest mistake of their life. That's why they've become eager to talk, eager to explain, eager to show you the depth of what they never spoke. Your silence isn't just silence to them, it feels like a consequence, a judgment, a door slowly closing. And they're terrified of what happens if they don't knock before it locks. And now comes the most unpredictable twist of all. Someone they trusted, someone in their inner circle, warned them that if they don't speak now, they will lose you forever. That warning shook them to their core. It was like a cosmic slap, a jolt that ripped away every excuse they were hiding behind. Suddenly everything clicked. You weren't just someone they liked, you were the person who awakened something profound in them. Something that changes people. Something that stays. And now they're preparing not just a message, not just a call, but a confession so raw that it will freeze the audience watching. They've drafted the words 10 times, deleted them 11 times, and every time they try to sleep, your name echoes louder. They know the next step is theirs. They know you've already done your part. And they know they can't run from this connection anymore, not when destiny has already chosen its moment. Stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal will tighten the grip of this story so intensely that nobody watching will even blink. The person you're connected with has reached a breaking point, not the kind that destroys someone, but the kind that forces a transformation so powerful that their entire emotional landscape has shifted overnight. They've realized something that hit them like a lightning strike. The profound impact you left on them was not accidental, not temporary, and definitely not something they can outrun anymore. Your presence awakened parts of them they buried years ago, parts they feared to revisit, parts they didn't believe they were worthy of feeling. And now, every heartbeat inside them whispers your name like a secret they're no longer strong enough to hide. They've started imagining the moment they finally speak to you, replaying it again and again, praying they don't ruin their only chance at rewriting destiny. Their fear isn't rejection, their fear is being too late. Someone around them has been observing their emotional turmoil, and that person has been silently feeding the tension. They noticed the sudden glow in their eyes when they thought of you, the sudden collapse in their shoulders when they assumed you'd moved on, the sudden panic when they believed they had misread the connection completely. That observer decided to intervene, not to separate you both, but to push them toward you, because even they saw the truth hidden between your silences. They told them, you need to talk to them. You need to fix this before it breaks you. And for the first time, this person didn't argue back. They didn't deny it. They didn't deflect it. They simply lowered their gaze, swallowed their guilt, and admitted the thing they never wanted to say out loud: I can't lose them. Those words cracked something open inside them. That was the exact moment they stopped resisting destiny and started preparing for the conversation they feared the most, the one with you. But the real twist begins here. Every night they lie awake, staring at the screen, rehearsing what they'll say. But every time they try to type the message, their hands tremble, their throat tightens, and their mind spirals into a storm of what-ifs. What if you've moved on? What if you're still hurt? What if you're done waiting? What if their confession comes too late to matter? And this fear of losing the only person who ever reached their soul, has turned into an obsession. They check your profile quietly, trying to read between your posts, trying to understand your silence, trying to feel your energy from a distance. They sense your emotional shifts. They sense when you feel disappointed. They sense when you think about them. And tonight, something hit them so intensely that it nearly pushed them to reach out. They felt your withdrawal. They felt your detachment. And it terrified them more than any confrontation ever could. They realized that if they don't speak now, someone else might step into the space they took for granted. But destiny isn't done twisting this story yet. Because someone who once tried to influence their decisions, someone whose presence in their life caused fear, hesitation, and emotional blockage, is now losing their grip. That person used to have power over their choices, whispering doubt into their ears, convincing them that reaching out to you would complicate their life. But recently, that influence has weakened. The connection between you and them has grown stronger than any external voice. They're no longer listening to fear. They're no longer listening to people who don't understand what this bond truly is. They've started reclaiming their power, stepping out of those old shadows, preparing themselves for a truth they can no longer contain. Because the shift you created inside them wasn't small. It was profound enough to change their direction, their decisions, their faith in timing, and their belief in destiny itself. They know now that not speaking to you would haunt them for the rest of their life. And now, before this moment slips away, let me tell you something crucial. They are preparing to break the silence sooner than you think. And when the message arrives, it won't be simple. It won't be casual. It won't be something they send lightly. It will carry the weight of everything they've held back, everything they've feared, everything they've realized, and everything they've finally accepted. They'll reveal how deeply you impacted them, how profoundly your absence shook them, and how urgently their soul wants to reconnect with yours. They'll tell you what they should have said months ago. They'll confess what they tried to bury. And they'll express the emotion they never wanted to admit. You changed them in ways they'll never forget. Listen closely now, because the energy around this connection is shifting faster than they can control, and the truth that's rising to the surface is something they never imagined they would be forced to confront. The person you're connected with has begun feeling an urgency that doesn't make sense logically, but destiny isn't waiting for their logic anymore. It's pushing them, nudging them, cornering them with signs, dreams, memories, and emotions that refuse to fade. Every time they try to distract themselves, something triggers a wave of longing so strong it stops them mid-breath. They've been sensing your distance growing, and that sensation terrifies them. It's like watching the only source of light in a dark room slowly dim. They feel it slipping, and the fear of losing you permanently has ignited something inside them. Something fierce, something bold, something that refuses to remain silent any longer. And now, their soul is urging them toward you with a force they never felt before. There's a moment they keep replaying, a moment that changed everything for them. A small detail you may not even remember, an expression, a word, a look, something subtle yet powerful that pierced through their defenses and stayed lodged in their chest. That moment became the anchor to all their realizations. Whenever doubt tries to convince them to pull away, that memory surfaces, reminding them of the authenticity, the connection, and the impact you had without even trying. That memory has become their compass. And the more they revisit it, the more they understand why they're unable to detach from you. You didn't just enter their life, you altered the rhythm of their emotions. Your absence echoes louder than any presence they've known. And this is why they pace around their room at night, debating whether to send the message they drafted at 2 a.m., the one that reveals everything they once vowed to hide. Someone close to them recently told them a truth they were not prepared to hear. They said, "You look like a person who's losing something they never valued enough when they had it." Those words hit them like a jolt. It exposed the guilt they've been burying under excuses. It forced them to admit that they took your patience, your kindness, your presence, and your quiet understanding for granted. They never believed their silence would cost them this much. They never thought you'd actually detach. They assumed you'd wait forever. And now the realization that you may not be waiting at all has shaken their entire emotional foundation. The fear of losing you has become bigger than their fear of being vulnerable. And that shift, that internal collapse, is exactly what's pushing them closer to finally speaking the truth they've been running from. Meanwhile, there's a secret battle happening inside them, one they've tried to keep hidden from everyone. They're caught between their old patterns and the new realization you triggered. Part of them still clings to the comfort of staying silent, avoiding emotion, pretending they're unaffected. But the other part, the part you awakened, is demanding honesty, demanding movement, demanding a chance to make things right. That inner conflict has grown so intense that they can't function normally anymore. Their mood swings. Their thoughts spiral. Their heart reacts whenever your name crosses their mind. They sense you pulling back. They sense your strength growing. And that terrifies them, because they know you are exactly the kind of person they don't meet twice in life. They know you're rare. They know you're different. And they know losing you would leave a void nothing else can fill. Now comes the revelation that will hold every viewer in absolute silence. The universe has begun aligning things in a way that leaves them with no escape. Every sign points to you. Every synchronicity leads back to you. Every emotional trigger reminds them that their next move determines everything. They're finally accepting that this connection wasn't random, wasn't temporary, and wasn't meant to fade. They've started preparing mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to approach you. Not casually. Not halfway. But with the truth they've never spoken to anyone else. They are gathering the courage to step into a conversation that might redefine their future. The message they're preparing to send carries the weight of everything they suppressed for months. Because what I'm about to unfold will grip every heartbeat watching this moment, and the intensity of what's coming next will feel almost unreal. The person you're connected with is standing on the threshold of a truth they can no longer suppress, a truth that's been clawing at their conscience, refusing to let them breathe until it's spoken. For days they've been wrestling with the weight of what they feel, pacing around the room like someone haunted by unfinished destiny. And tonight something inside them snapped wide open. A realization so sharp, so emotionally charged, so undeniable that it shook them to the core. They have already lost too much time. They've already delayed too many words. They've already risked too much by staying silent. Your absence doesn't just hurt them, it scares them. It exposes every fear they've tried to bury. It forces them to confront what they've been running from. You changed them in ways no one else ever did, and they cannot imagine their life without the connection you brought into it. And while I speak this, let this moment be shared with anyone who believes in timing, anyone who's felt the invisible pull of a destined bond. Let this message travel where it needs to go. There's something they experienced recently that jolted them harder than any confrontation could. It was a dream, vivid, emotional, and unsettling, where they saw themselves reaching out to you only to find silence on the other side. That dream felt too real, too symbolic, too much like a warning from the universe itself. They woke up breathless, with the overpowering fear that they might have waited too long, that the door might already be closing. And since that night, every sound, every sign, every flicker of intuition has been echoing the same message: speak now, before the chance dissolves. They've been rehearsing the words again and again, whispering them under their breath like a confession they're afraid to face. And the emotional volcano inside them is seconds away from erupting. If you're watching this, don't scroll. Stay. Because their next move is not just a message. It's a turning point. And if you understand the depth of this moment, let your presence be felt, let your voice reflect in the space around this story. But here's the twist that nobody expects. Someone from their own life confronted them recently, someone who sees through their mask with unsettling clarity. That person asked a question that shook every defense they had left: why do you look like someone who already regrets something they haven't even lost yet? That sentence broke them. It shattered the shell they were hiding behind. It exposed the truth they've been suffocating under for months. Their eyes lowered, their breath stumbled, and for the first time, they admitted out loud, though quietly, almost trembling, that they can't pretend anymore. They can't ignore what they feel. They can't control the pull toward you. They can't fight the guilt of leaving things unsaid. And they definitely can't handle the thought of someone else stepping into the space they were too afraid to claim. Their silence has become unbearable, their fear has become heavier than their pride, and their desire to reconnect with you has become stronger than any doubt they ever carried. The universe has been flooding them with signs, numbers repeating, memories resurfacing, emotions rushing back at random moments. They've tried brushing it off. They've tried distracting themselves. They've tried convincing their own heart that it's just coincidence. But destiny has grown louder, clearer, almost impossible to misinterpret. Every path they take leads back to you. Every attempt to detach only deepens the bond. Every reminder of you hits them with the same question looping like a heartbeat: what if this was meant to be expressed, not suppressed? And the more they resist, the more the universe pushes. They're realizing that silence is no longer an option. That holding back is now a risk, not a safety. And they're preparing for the moment when they finally break through every barrier they ever built. If you're here listening, let this truth echo wider. Let it reach someone who needs to hear a message of timing, courage, and destiny unfolding in real time. And now comes the final surge of this chapter, something so powerful that it changes everything that follows. They have finally accepted that you are not just someone they liked. You are someone who awakened parts of them that had been silent for years. Someone who brought meaning where they felt emptiness. Someone whose absence stings deeper than they expected. And that acceptance has pushed them into a state where reaching out is no longer a choice, it's a necessity. A calling. A soul-level pull. They're building the courage right now, gathering every shattered piece of vulnerability, preparing to step toward you with a truth they've held back for far too long. My beloved child. Prepare yourself, because what I'm about to unveil will pull every viewer deeper into the center of this emotional storm, and the intensity rising now is unlike anything in the previous parts. The person you're connected with has reached a point where holding back has become physically exhausting for them. Their chest feels tight every time they think of you, their thoughts spiral when they imagine you slipping away, and their emotions flood every quiet moment of their day. They've been pretending to function normally, pretending to stay calm, pretending to stay composed, but inside, their heart is in turmoil. They're overwhelmed by a realization that refuses to let them rest. The profound impact you left on them wasn't small, wasn't temporary, and wasn't something they can erase by distracting themselves. You shook them at a soul level. Your presence awakened their dormant courage, their hidden tenderness, and the vulnerability they buried long ago. Now, every breath they take feels incomplete without the conversation they know they must have with you. The silence between you two has become a weight they can no longer bear. There's something they've been hiding, something they've never dared to speak, not to friends, not to family, not even to themselves fully. They never expected you to matter this much. When they first connected with you, they thought it would be casual, light, easy to forget if needed. But the deeper they went, the more they felt something powerful stirring inside them, something frightening, something magnetic, something that felt destined. They tried to fight it, because deep emotional bonds scare them more than anything. But every attempt to push you away only pulled you deeper into their thoughts. Every time they told themselves to stay detached, their heart betrayed them. And now, after all the resisting, after all the denial, after all the distance, they've been hit with a truth so profound it shook them to their bones. You are the one person whose energy matches theirs in ways they can't explain. You are the only presence that feels like clarity in their chaos. And this realization has broken through their final layer of fear. But the universe didn't stop there. It delivered a moment recently that completely shattered their emotional defenses. They saw something, an image, a message, a glimpse of your life moving forward. And it hit them like a tidal wave. It wasn't jealousy. It was something deeper, something rawer. Panic. They felt the terrifying possibility that someone else might understand you the way they do, someone else might hear the things they're too scared to say, someone else might receive the parts of you they've always cherished from a distance. That fear cracked open the truth they were suppressing. Losing you would haunt them for the rest of their life. That single moment shifted everything. It forced them to confront their own hesitation. It exposed the cost of their silence. And it ignited a fire inside them strong enough to burn through every doubt, every excuse, every barrier they built to protect themselves from vulnerability. They are no longer in the phase of confusion. They're in the phase of urgency. Something else happened too. Something even more intense. They came across a memory of you unintentionally. A message. A voice. A picture. And the moment they saw it, something inside them collapsed. It wasn't nostalgia. It was something far deeper, a reminder of what they felt when they were closest to you, the emotional clarity they had when your energy was touching theirs. They remembered how peaceful it felt, how natural, how effortless. And that memory became a mirror that exposed the emptiness in their present. It reminded them of everything they've been running from. It made them realize that every attempt to forget you was actually an attempt to forget themselves, because you awakened the version of them they didn't believe still existed. From that moment onward, they knew they couldn't stay silent anymore. They couldn't pretend they didn't care. They couldn't hide behind pride or fear. The truth had grown too big to contain. Now here's where the story takes its most powerful turn yet. They are preparing a message for you. Not a small message. Not a casual, "Hi." Not a simple, "How are you?" but a message that carries the weight of everything they never said. It holds their regrets, their realizations, their emotions, their vulnerability, their truth. They've written and deleted it multiple times. They've paced for hours. They've stared at the screen, unsure if they should send it. But the silence is becoming unbearable. The urge to speak is becoming stronger than their fear of the outcome. And deep down, they believe, no, they know, that if they don't speak now, they will lose the moment destiny has been preparing for both of you.